I've done a number of videos. You may not have seen previous ones, but this video is for the Postgraduate International Certificate of Digital Literacy, and it's actually looking at the area of diagnostic tests. Okay, so once you've finished your learning, done everything that you want to do with regard to that, and you're feeling quite strong, then it might be time for you to try a diagnostic test. Don't jump into these. There are only 3, and there are particular things you need to do while you're in there button-wise, otherwise you could close them down and they're completely wasted. And after the 3, there are no more. Okay, so you need to be really careful with them and also be ready for them. They're not learning materials, okay? So you're ready to do a diagnostic. What is it? It's a test in your ICDL module, whether that's data analytics or big data. And it's an online practice or a mock. That's the sort of language we generally understand when it comes to these. But this test will diagnose your strengths and weaknesses. So it will look at the areas that you've done, and it will come back with a feedback, and it will say that this is incorrect, that's incorrect. So you need to be aware of that and how you can then confidently study that again if that's the case, and then try another diagnostic if it's necessary. If you've done really well and everything's going great, that means that you can be ready for your actual certified certificate, taking the live certification test. And that's in our test centre. That has to be invigilated. Diagnostic tests do not need to be invigilated. Okay, so you can do these independently. Results for these tests are instant. Go for something like an 80% plus so that you've got a good, strong knowledge base and you are aware of how the test works in the test, as well as the diagnostic test. But we'll stick to the diagnostic test and how that works to begin with. Okay, so I'm going to take you through looking at the assessment area in your skill box module, whether it's data analytics or big data. Please bear with me, I will do one at a time. So if you want to skip one and get to the one that you're doing, that's absolutely fine. So we're going to go into the live area. Okay, so here's the skill box. If you're doing data analytics, you'll see this, and if you're doing big data, the one below. So the way to get into both of them is to click on the view. I'm going to do the data analytics first and then the big data. So if we click on the view, we will be able to see our module and see what we have inside. So in my case, it would be progress will be up here. So I've done some e-learning, and now I want to go into my assessment area, which is my diagnostic test. You can see that I've had an attempt. I've had 2 attempts at the 2 attempts remaining for my certified test, and I've got 1 attempt remaining, which I've already gone into. And so I've actually attempted a diagnostic here. So let's look at the report for one of these. So if you click on your attempt that you've had, I'm saving my last diagnostic just in case I'm not successful in that second test for the certified certificate, because I want to refresh things just before I do it. If you have that opportunity, it's probably worthwhile. So you'll see here it will give me some feedback, gives me the questions, what I've answered. No, they've not said anything on this, because I've probably, on these ones, as you can see, I may have clicked around incorrectly, and it gives you 3 tries on some of them. But on the live Excel ones, as we will see, I'm going to demonstrate some of these, you actually get to work on a live Excel, and you can undo and you can re-edit and you can use the FX for the functions, etc. So I'm going to give you a flavour in this one, particularly because it uses live applications, and it uses the hotspot version of Power BI, so you don't need the live Power BI, but you will have to use the desktop version that they've got at the university to sort of practice the revision exercises within the learning, and I've talked about there. But just to mention it again, it's office.com at the university, and then you can go to the bottom left hand side, right at the bottom, it's got apps, open it up and search for Power BI, and that's a way that you can access the software. Okay, so coming back, let's go into a diagnostic. So I've got an idea of where I'm at. At 89, I'd be more than happy to go ahead and do my test. But let's have a look at what I did to get there. So if we actually start the diagnostic test, I've got 1 left, like I said. So I can actually suspend this and keep it open, keep it running, so it's not ending. If I use end test, it completely shuts it down. I will not be able to go back in again. And if I'd only answered 2 questions, it will end it at that point and give me a result, and that's it gone, it's wasted. So remember, there are only 3 in this package. There are no other diagnostics that you can do. Okay, just to point out, while it's run down the what we call the system requirements, you'll see it at the top there. This is checking things like, if you might see something up against an error up against your pop-ups. If you go up to the top right on your address bar, you will see a rectangle with a star on it, and that's your pop-ups. You may know it. I'm not trying to patronize you, but if you do know it, that's where you need to go and allow always, so that you can get that enabled. Then you might have a problem with your plugin. You can follow the instructions. They'll have a link alongside of it, and you can click on there and you can download an extension. It's only a Chrome extension. These tests have to be done in Chrome, and they won't work properly in Edge, so don't use Edge. So they're done in Chrome, and if you need a Chrome extension, that will do that for you. And then you would F5 or use a refresh up here on the top left hand side on the address bar to refresh and make it run through and incorporate those changes that you've just done. If you're having real problems and you want to do this on your laptop, because remember, diagnostics are independently done, you can come into our test centre to do them for the drop-in, or you can do them independently. If you have a problem on your laptop, then let us know. We might send you a video if you feel confident to do it yourself, or you can pop into the drop-in and we will help you to ensure that your laptop can run the diagnostic. Okay, so let's click on the continue. It doesn't start yet. We've got a start button up here, and then this module we've got 37 questions. If we scroll down, there's no time limit. You may change a submitted answer. This one's quite flexible, unlike the test, which we'll talk about when you get closer to that. This one, you can, like I said, change things within the Excel. You can change a button on a multiple choice test. The Power BI ones are a little bit more tricky, and that's why I'm talking about it. I'm going to show you, but otherwise the others are quite flexible. You need to suspend, remember, if you want to go back into this test, this diagnostic test. If you end it, that's it. It's no longer. So let's start. So I'm going to give you a flavour. If we go back right down the bottom here, you can see the answer, the question bar, all the way back. And you can see that in some of these questions, you will have, there's one I've answered earlier, you will have a question and 4 possible answers. So this is your multiple choice style test. There's a few of these. If I've already answered it and I want to change my mind, in the diagnostic I can. In the test I can't. So, but in here you can use the clear, opens the question up again, and you could change your mind. I haven't even read the question, and click on answer. That's not a good approach. Okay. Then you can also look at the different questions. I could click along here and find different ones. If I wanted to, if I go on here, you'll get a live Excel coming in, and it's asking you to import a file. So these files are already in the diagnostic. So if I went into the data tab and then I went to importing from the Z drive, which is a simulated drive, we need to mention that. Simulated means that it's just in this diagnostic test. It's obviously not on your drive. So we're going to get that sales, CSV. Here's one that's got CSVs. Click on there. It's kindly brought us straight into the Z drive. We haven't got to look for it, but remember, if you can't see it, drop that down this PC and you will see it there. So I'm going to double click on that, bring it in into the wizard, and we're going to start at A1. Luckily, I've put my cursor there and activated that cell, but you can still do that. So I'm going to drop this down. You can load to, or you can load. So let's click on the load. Let's get rid of that, and you can see it's gone straight into A1, and that's fine. And then you would click on your answer up here on the top right to make sure that you've done it. and it's in the first sheet. Everything's working as it should do, and click on answer. It automatically takes you to the next question. While we're there, let's just throw something onto the screen and talk about it while we're doing this diagnostic, just to bring it home again. Bear with me. Okay, so the diagnostic test buttons. This is something you need to be aware of. We've looked at the nav. The nav will show you the overall, all the diagnostic questions if you wanted to have a look around to see what it's all about. You've got a next and previous, which means you can go back and forth. And remember, when you've answered a question, I use the clear button to open it up again. In the test, you can't do that, but in here, yes, you can. You can redo it. And then remember, we talked about the important button. Obviously, answer is very important, because just before we get to suspend, you click on answer in order to answer the question and move on. We have had students who have used next, and I can understand that because of language. Next could mean moving on to the next one. But answer is what we want, and next is for going to the next question if you want to, and in the test it acts as a skip, but we'll talk about that when we get there. The next important button is the suspend button. If you use this end button, remember you've lost your test. It will give you an instant result, a report, and you can't open it up again. So if it's your final test as diagnostic test, as it was in my case, I want to go for the certification, and then I've got one diagnostic left that I'm keeping open, just so that just in case I miss that boat, if you like, and I have to redo the cert. And I've got this to use as a refresh, which is a perfect scenario. So by clicking on suspend, I will be able to dip in and out, I'll be able to pop out and do something and go back in again. If we go further on, let's look at something a bit further on pivot. You've got the sheets across the bottom. If we go to, let's say, 28, let's have a look at some of the Power BI. Oh, still in a Excel. So I can go to my nav. Good way of finding out. Scroll down. You can see all the types of questions that you've got. And let's do this one. Just to show something I want to show you about the 3 clicks. So unlike the Excel, as we've explained, you can undo, you can re-edit, you can use Control and C, Control and V, Control and Z for undo. You can do all of those different things. This one as well is going to be live, so this is absolutely fine. I'm actually looking for something. Let's go a little bit further. I thought I clicked on something that I obviously hadn't. This is a typical hotspot sort of question. So what I'm saying is it will work for you if you do the right thing. If you incorrectly click. So what I was doing at some point when I was playing around with it, as you do, to learn it, I didn't know that it was going to do this to me. So this is what I do. I get things, I go in, I play with them, I move around on them, and find out the information that's most important to you so that you don't waste clicks, if you like, on your diagnostic test. So it's giving you an insight. Some of the things to think about. If you click on something incorrectly, you can right click. If you watch this, like this is just saying applied condition, just saying applied conditional formatting. It's not straightforward. So you've got to find conditional formatting and you've got to know where it is. So you would have to know if it was in a particular area that you would right click on it, etc. You also, with this visualization pane, there's no tooltips like there is in a live Excel. So you need to know what these represent because you're going to have to use them or select them. If I click that, you can see this. You did not click on the correct location. You have 2 misclicks left. So it's really important that you understand what you're doing. And also notice the scroll bar as well here. There is a little bit more going on underneath. And then you could miss something like the final bit where it says, then click on Hungary page. Sorry, Hungary I said. So you'll be doing that. But if I did it at that stage, I'm also incorrect because I still haven't done the task of conditional formatting. So I want to explain that to you. Really, if you're going to do these and you come across them and you haven't got a clue, go back to your learning and make sure you do. That's the best way to fill in the gaps. Not using it as a learning material right across the board. You can't afford to do that. That's not enough. But if you used it in a way that this is a really weak area for me, I really don't know what I'm doing, you could then suspend that test and go and do some learning on it, and then restart the test again at that point in time. Remember, if you in the diagnostic test, if you've answered something, so if I went back in and there's something that I've answered and I've now gone and I've checked alongside something I had no idea about, because this could happen. I mean, we're human, we don't know everything straight away. I go back in again. Because I suspended it, I could go back into that question or go into a question that's grey. Do you see how it's grey? So I've answered it there, number 29. So it's been blocked out, this one. If I went to further on down the front, I've got 3 there, it's greyed out, click in there. And remember how I used the clear down in the bottom right hand corner here, and it tells you this question has been answered. You can click and clear it and re-answer it again. Then you can suspend again if you need to pop out or something. Okay, so use it carefully, make the best of it, and when you get feedback, look at your feedback and make a note of that. And you've got the buttons as well on here that I've showed you. We'll be putting all of that out so you've got the information. What I'd like to do next is let's have a look at the big data. So those of you that have done data analytics and you've seen that in action, you can just watch till the end, or you can just pop off and do something else. Okay, so we're going to look at this one, into the big data. There's your learning, here's your assessment. You can see that I've got 3 attempts remaining, 2 certs because I haven't attempted it, and I haven't really done very much learning. So I really need to concentrate on that really before I start moving on to my assessment. Remember, there's revision exercises all the way through these learning materials, e-learning as well. I've done some extra bits for you too of a way of learning. So I'm back into my diagnostic. I've not done one before. I'm going in for the first time. Slightly different, this one. Notice the Windows operating system. Couple of things here. One, you have to use Chrome to get into the skill box. And the other thing is that you need it to be on a Windows operating system. These tests do not work on Chromebook and they do not work on MacBooks. So it has to be a Windows. So if you're deciding that you're going to do your diagnostic independently as you can and not at the university, you need a Windows machine, a laptop. Okay? And you can see there that the browser is Chrome. So this one is different to data analytics. This is a multiple choice test. 17 questions. Right, okay. So we're going to start. Same information if you watched before, no time limit. You may change submitted answers using the clear button, and you must suspend it if you want to go back in and have a look at something, maybe check in your learning to make sure you're right, or not answer it and suspend and look at it and see if you can get that. Okay, so we look at the start. So these are, as you will see if I click the nav button, these are all multiple choice questions. Now there's 17. Good advice would be to actually do a lot more than that. And this is a flavour. This is giving you an idea of how the software works in the actual test. It's giving you a flavour of the sorts of questions and how they're asked, what format they're in. You can see you've got a question, 4 possible answers. So you need to make sure that you go wider than this. And remember, you're looking for 75% and above for this test question. But go for more than that. Go for 80% if you can, before you, 80 plus even, and go wider for the test. Remember, you've got your syllabus to look at. So if you look at the syllabus on this, I've sent it on quite a few emails. You will see everything you're expected to cover, and it is more than this test. So this one you're going to answer. I'm not even gone to the question, but let's have a look which one of them focus the first phase in a big data. So communication data online, cleansing, compressing data, managing warehouse, probably cleansing, and then you click on answer. Now if you decided to go back to it, remember, look how they're grey. If I click on 4, the rest are white. So these ones have been answered. So I go to 1 and it looks like this. Remember, I can clear in the bottom right hand corner and I could go and answer another one and then answer again. This you can do in the diagnostic test. You can't do this in the cert test, but we will explain all of that to you. If you're just watching the big data and you've skipped the other stuff, the data analytics bit, I'm going to show the buttons again. And if you're still watching, there's no harm in looking at the buttons twice. So when you're taking a diagnostic test, these buttons that I'm clicking around on and talking about are all here for you to refer to. We have the buttons in the test as well, so don't worry about that. So on the diagnostic test, you can go backwards and forwards because you've got a previous and a next. We looked at the nav. You can see the nav will give you all of the diagnostic questions within that module. The flag, you can flag questions to go back. So let's say you've got a question and you're really not sure about it. You could pop a flag on it. It's a little black flag. And then you could go away, go and do some research on it, look at the learning materials, Google it, whichever way is most, is the best way, probably learn materials, but Google too. And then you could go back to the flag questions, might be more than one, and answer them there. Answer is the way to move forward, not next. So make sure you click on answer to answer the question and go to the next question. Once it's answered, it goes grey. But you can, in the diagnostic only, go and clear it and reopen it. When it comes to suspending, somebody shouting your tea's ready, or you're popping somewhere out, go shopping, or whatever it is you do in our real day-to-day lives, go to a lecture, you need to click on the suspend button, because the suspend button will allow you to go back in where you finished off, and then you can carry on and do it. With the end button, it will shut you down, and it will give you feedback or reports of however many questions you've done. So if you answered one and you had to rush off to lecture and you didn't suspend, you'll get the answer to one question if you didn't get it right, and that's the test shut down. So you've only got 3, don't waste them. Okay, make the best of them so that you can do other things. Okay, so that's that out the way. Let's pop it back off. Let's bring our test back in. There we go. So you can see that these are all multiple choice questions. There's not really much point in me hanging around. There's the flag. I could flag a question like that down here at the bottom right. There's my suspend. There's my clear, answer, and then I can jump around. So I could go to a previous question, and then again another previous, and then I could flag that again, and then I could suspend and leave. It's safe, and I'm able to go back in again. So hopefully that's been enough. I'm just going to go back to the slides. Let's have just a quick look at the bottom, make sure we cover everything. So all I'm looking at here is that you've got a way of getting in touch with us. You can email us, you've got our email there. Also, you can drop into our drop-ins twice a week. So Mondays are 1 o'clock till 2 in ECG 36. The Wednesdays also in ECG 36, and that's from 12 o'clock till 2. So we've seen a lot of you already. It's lovely to see you and to meet you. If you've got anything you're not sure of, anything you want to ask questions about, let us know. And I will be putting some emails out about timelines. So keep learning, and then when you get to the stage where you want to do a diagnostic, you can let us know if you can do it independently and you follow the correct way of doing it, and don't use them up, because there are no replacing them, unfortunately. So once they're gone, they're gone. So use them usefully, not as a learning material. And then when you're ready, you can give us a shout and let us know that you're coming up to thinking about taking the actual certification. Okay, so I hope that's helped. There will be further videos, but I hope that's helped. And if you've got any other questions or problems with like registration or other things like that, let us know and we'll help you to get there. Thanks for watching. Didn't come on, you watched. Hopefully you did come on, and take care. Bye bye.